if you check in on the news, you'll see there's all these drones or UFOs or some kind of wild thing that's happening here on planet Earth. And I thought, I'd start today just having a little fun with the UFOs and the alien people coming to visit us. But the bottom line here is human beings, we don't know. We don't know what this is. We don't know what these things are that are in the sky. And I would like just to use this as a metaphor about spiritual awakening. If we take a moment and reflect, most of us look at ourselves as these autonomous human beings, and we have our world, our view, our perspective, our way of doing things. And the whole egoic perspective is built on this idea of I know and I control and I maintain and I choose to end what I don't like. I choose to chase the things I do like. But on the spiritual path, our perspective is constantly being challenged. It's constantly being challenged. This very force of Kundalini Shakti is here to challenge our human, tyrannical authoritarian perspective. And by that, I mean everyone. If you feel into your ego, you'll see it's like a little tyrant about how things should be, what the world is. It creates this whole illusion. And for most of us, we never question it. Now, of course, if you find yourself on the spiritual path, then you are here because you are looking for a greater reality, a greater perspective. And anytime we walk in the direction of God, we're walking in the direction of something greater. And maybe we're not interested in God. Maybe we're just a normal human being and we're in our egoic worldview. And then spontaneously, this Kundalini Shakti is coming into us and awakening something in us. And it's like, well, what is that? What is that? What is God doing? God is here expanding, blowing up, destroying our little human perspective. And if we look at the path, whether it's a path of psychological healing, what does psychological healing do? It destroys your human egoic perspective, the perspective of being a victim or the perspective of being broken or the perspective of being unworthy. If we're on a Tony Robbins self-help, path, again, like that path is going to destroy our limited perspective and move us into an unlimited perspective. If we're on this path of Kundalini Shakti, it's just like God is choosing to destroy our perspective and show us something greater. If we're a non-dual awakening person, it's like, okay, I'm sick of my own mind. I'm inviting the perspective of my mind to be destroyed and to open into something greater. Now, we just had this whole retreat focusing on spiritual empowerment. Spiritual empowerment arises when we choose to consciously embrace a higher perspective. But anytime we do that, our lower perspective is going to be destroyed. Now, in the olden days, there was this astronomer, I want to call him astrologer, an astronomer named Copernicus. And he started to study the stars, and he came to realize that the whole world doesn't revolve around human beings, and Earth being the center. The world revolves around the sun. And the response to him at the time, the response from the religious leaders at the time who controlled the perspective, was one of repression, was one of fight. So in this case, the religious ones were showing up in the form of ego. And Copernicus was showing up with an openness saying, I'm wanting to discover something greater, something greater. And I'm going to invite us just to look at how we relate to the world. And in this moment, I'm going to invite us to look at how we relate to these UFOs. Are they trying to change the name now? The UAPs, unidentified, I want to call it aerial phenomena, but I think it's unidentified, anomalous phenomena. But how does our ego relate to something new and wild that's coming to planet Earth? So most people, like I was speaking with my oldest daughter, and she was absolutely ignoring it. She's like, no, Dad, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to go there. And this is a really common thing within the ego psychology is I don't want to look at something I don't know or I can't figure out or I don't understand. I'm just going to focus on my little egoic reality. And I want to hold on and maintain. And my daughter, developmentally, I'm speaking about my oldest daughter. She's going off to graduate school. She wants to study business. She wants to be successful. This is her reality. I'm going to support her in that. But on the spiritual path, our realities are always being challenged. And if we want to have a healthy, efficient spiritual path, we open to the challenge, we let go of our old view, and we begin to investigate, we begin to question, we begin to open, we begin to see what is this new thing that life is trying to show us.